One of the lessons that I've learned in publishing is the value of a really good publisher. And sometimes I'm asked, does an author really need a publisher? And technically, no, you don't. You can go to Fiverr and you can hire someone to edit your book, to lay out your book. You can get someone to design the cover. You can go to Amazon. You can use Kindle Direct Publishing. They will print the book. They will make it available electronically. They will put it in the Amazon store, which is where people go now to buy books. And they will do the fulfillment, and the money will come into your bank account. So at one level, no, technically you don't need a publisher. But the real question is, do you want anyone to read your book? And you really need to think through that question. Obviously, in one sense, you go, well, of course I do. Well, are you willing to make the sacrifice that a publisher requires in terms of like their percentage in order to make sure that people are, or at least have a better chance of people reading your book? There's two things here. One is the seal of approval. If I were to looking at two books, and one was by Zondervan and one was self-published through Amazon, I would automatically assume that the Zondervan book was better. Why? Well, because Zondervan has acquisition editors that are really good and well-trained. They have good editors. They have good designers, page layout people. They know how to market books. I would just assume automatically that this book was better than the one by Amazon because Zondervan went to all the expense, or any mainline publisher, went to all the expense to publish it. So the imprimatur, the seal of approval, is a really big deal. Now, again, if you are very well known in social media, if you have a following, if you're trusted, then you already have that seal of approval. You have the people that know you and trust you, and they're going to buy your book, whether you self-publish or whether it comes from a publisher like Zondervan. So the seal of approval is a really big deal. The other thing that's a really big deal is marketing. Never underestimate how time-consuming marketing is. And you're going to have to decide whether you want to put the effort and the money, and it can be a lot of money these days, into social media marketing, or whether you want to go off and write another book. I mean, you're just going to have to make that decision. So the marketing is hard. Now, even if you go with a top-tier publisher, marketing is still a challenge, because what generally happens in publishers is they will publish the book, they'll do an initial push, they'll put it into their catalogs, they'll maybe try to get it in a good place in Amazon, which is a whole science in and of itself. But publishers tend, and I say just tend, to get the book out, do a good push on it, and then they're on to other books. And you're going to be the one that has to keep working at marketing your book, unless you're just a top-tiered author and it's in the publisher's interest to really keep pushing and pushing year after year. So either way, you're going to have to end up doing some marketing, some social media, some Instagram posting or LinkedIn or whatever be the platform that you think is best for what you're doing. So do you technically need a publisher? No. Is it better to have a publisher? Yeah, I think it probably is. And I would encourage you that even if you haven't published before, go for the big dog. Go for the big publishers, the top tier stuff, the Zondervans, the Bakers, and some of these other publishers that have really good reputations. Now, a lot of these publishers won't accept an offer from someone unless it comes in from an agent. So but be careful of agents. I've heard of some really good agents, and I've heard of some real charlatans, ones that'll take $5,000 and you'll never get anywhere with it. So you're going to probably need an agent. If you can't afford an agent, try to develop a personal relationship with a publisher. Go to the trade shows, go to the book shows, find out who's the right acquisitions editor. Zondervan has a lot of acquisition editors, and get the right one. Try to get a time with them. They're there to get good books, and they'll listen to you if you can find them, has been my experience. So go for the big ones. Now, probably, again, if you're an unpublished author, if you don't have a lot of academic credibility because of other things, you may have to start with a second or a third tiered publisher, but I think it's generally worth it. But again, if you really are well known in social media and you have a following and you like doing that kind of stuff, you like the promotional side of things, it's been my experience that most authors don't. But if you do and you have people trusting you, give it a shot. I mean, I've seen publishers pick up books that are self-published that have proven themselves, and then they take them and perhaps do another edit job on them and publish them. So that'd be my suggestion. If you're well known, you may want to give a shot at self-publishing, but if you need that seal of approval, do everything you can to get it. But either way, you're going to end up having to push your books. That's just the way it is.